The devastating sexual assault, rape and violence statistics involving foreign nationals just keep coming. The establishment media don't want you to hear about it, but I think you have every right. Oba Moyo has been sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 27 years for murdering a 35-year-old woman he was in a relationship with. The detail on this is shocking. He was, in fact, an illegal immigrant, denied asylum and on prison licence following release from a 14-year sentence for a serious assault on a previous partner. Why was he still able to slaughter a woman in the street in Britain, stabbing her to death after chasing her down the road? How many more Oba Moyos are there? Well, regular viewers and listeners of this show will know that the Ministry of Justice won't tell us. They've refused our Freedom of Information request and our offer to pay for that information, which is why we are pushing for a change to the law so that governments have to tell us how many foreign nationals commit horrendous offences in Britain. I am hoping that I'll have an update on that for you in the next couple of weeks. But this isn't just our problem. New figures from Paris show that 77% of solved rape cases last year were committed, apparently, by foreign nationals. The majority of these targeted tourist hotspots, as if they were looking for prey. In Denmark, the native Danes ranked 42nd on the list of violent crime convictions in their own country. Questions like this have been asked in the European Parliament for some time. Countries that have received large numbers of migrants, such as Germany, Sweden and the United Kingdom, are now seeing an increase in sexual crimes, including rape against white women and girls. Significantly, although the number of reports of such crimes is increasing, the number of convictions for them is falling. That question was asked in the EU Parliament. Well, the EU's response was this. Oh, it's quite shocking, actually. It focuses on promoting European values such as equality is a long-standing objective of the EU in its support to national integration policies. The EU Action Plan on Integration and Inclusion sets out a framework to strengthen and step up integration and inclusion policies across the EU. Look, Germany has had massive issues, as we all know. We all know back in 2016, around 1,200 women were attacked by around 2,000 mostly North African men in one night in Cologne. Will we ever know how many of those men, or men like them, have made their way to Britain? This isn't really about integration and inclusion, is it? This is about politicians letting the wrong people in and putting women and girls at risk, and then refusing to tell us the truth. How many more women have to be killed or sexually assaulted by men like Oba Moyo? We shouldn't have to get the law changed for them to tell us the truth. Let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. I am joined by Mark Littlewood, the director of Popular Conservatives. I've also got activist and boxer Adam Brooks and author and commentator Rebecca Reed. Mark, I'll start with you on this. I saw that case today and I just thought, here we go again. You know, this guy, what on earth was he doing prowling the streets?
Yeah, I endorse your campaign here, Patrick, with possibly one or two riders. I mean, I think we should follow the truth wherever it leads us. And if data and statistics can help uncover the truth, so be it. And you've been very fair to say you're not presuming any correlation or causation here. But I think we need to know, but I think we need to be very specific what we're looking for here. Are we looking for foreign nationals? Are we looking specifically for foreign nationals who are seeking asylum?
So what I've gone for is asylum seekers and people with a pending visa application.
OK. That's rather different to foreign nationals, right? I mean, I'm not suggesting there is one, but hypothetically, you could have an outbreak of crime by foreign tourists, which might lead you to change your tourism policy. So I think that we should look into this. And my worry, you didn't imply it, and I don't want to sound too conspiratorial, is sometimes we don't like unearthing the truth, or the government doesn't like providing us with the stats, because the sort of things it might tell us are a bit disquieting. That's no reason to hold it back. And from what I understand, the Ministry of Justice basically have these numbers, or can get them. They're just not willing to give them to you. That's bad government.
I won't hold back, because it's pretty clear. We are importing tens of thousands of unknown, unverifiable men from countries in Africa, from the Middle East, from South Asia, that have very different cultural beliefs to us, different morals, different values, treat women differently. And I've spoken to former police officers that have said you will be shocked at the crime that emanates from the migrant population in this country. And I think it's clear. You only have to go on TikTok or Instagram and see the paedophile hunters Most of the people they catch cannot speak English. It's a problem, and we need to know what problem we've got on the streets of Britain. We've got families. These people are being housed in hotels and barracks near schools, near women's refuges, near you know, where there's families. This is dangerous, and the Home Office is putting the country at risk.
Rebecca, you know, I read that case today from Greater Manchester Police, and I just thought, you know, why did that woman really have to die? She didn't. There was no need for it. I mean, he was an illegal migrant, was refused asylum. This is what the police have said. Had served a previous conviction for a previous assault against a previous partner. He was even tagged, I believe, as well, which makes me wonder, well, you know, you can't even tag these. It can be over in the blink of an eye.
I need you to let me finish. So I'm going to start by saying something a little bit controversial, which is that I have been on GB News for 2.5 years, and this is the first time I've had any conversation about violence against women or sexual assault towards women. And I think we're talking about it because the people doing this are predominantly Muslim. Now, I fully agree that if you do not think that a woman should be allowed to walk down the street in a short skirt and be free from harassment, you do not deserve to live here. I do agree that some cultures do not respect women and therefore are incompatible with life here. But I also think that there are people who only want to talk about rape and sexual violence towards women when it is a demographic they already don't like. So if we're going to talk about this, which we should, we also have to talk about the fact that 1 in 4 women in the UK have been sexually assaulted or raped, and that is not just brown men or Muslim men, that is men. And the only thing that this has in common is that 98% of these accounts are men attacking women.
Hear, hear. But we do not need to import more.
No,
and we are importing more.
We agree, I think.
Is that a British national there will be information on. We can go back. We can investigate them. These men are unknown.
Don't. Tragically, we don't. Rape is effectively legalised here. The police cannot handle it. They're not properly trained. They don't have the resources. So women being raped is my issue here. But I completely agree. If somebody comes here and they are a rapist, whatever their religion, I don't want them living in this country, or I want them in prison.
You mentioned there, and I suspect there's quite a lot of truth to what you said, which is that if the reality was put out there, that it could end up being devastating, and the Conservatives would have to face up to the fact that a lot of this had happened on their watch. But what would also happen is, as we suspect, we may well end up with a Labour government going forward, quite soon, possibly, that then Labour might have to actually enact some policies about it. My point is it needs to be part of the conversation.
You're exactly right. And my fear, I mean, the Ministry of Justice have not said this to you and GB News, but my fear is sometimes we don't allow this information to go public for fear that it will, as I said, tell us things that are uncomfortable. This might be in part about race. Rebecca makes a very good point, by the way. We readily accept that the overwhelming majority of violent crimes are committed by men. We don't consider that to be a sexist thing to say. I mean, it's just a fact that men commit many more violent crimes than women. I mean, by a factor of, I don't know, 50 or so. And I think we should also bury down to nationality, race and asylum status in order to work out what the categories are we need to police. The thing is this, Patrick. You present a very popular news show. Your viewers will care about this. But I'm actually interested in its implications for public policy. And if you don't have the right data out there, you don't know what you're searching for, you don't know how big the problem is, how are you supposed to make decent public policy? It needs to be part of the conversation. Completely. And the policy-making machine.
If everything else can be part of the conversation, how many times have we seen the Rwanda plan go back and forth from the Lords? And unfortunately, I have not really heard the sexual violence against women argument really raised that many times by a lot of lovely Lords.
Look, the Lords live in their ivory towers. They don't go down high roads and see the problem with these migrants about. Same as MPs. A lot of the MPs are not in touch with the public. So they're voting on things they have no idea about. So if these statistics get put out there and they get put on the front page of the Daily Mail, on The Guardian, there is no arguing. We've got a problem.
They won't be on the front page of The Guardian.
But we've got a problem. Places like Germany, Italy, France, gang rapes are up almost 50% over the last 10 years. That's no coincidence that we've been importing tens or hundreds of thousands of migrants in that period.
All I would say, just to temper that, is that there has been, so between 2021 and 2022, it's a 32% jump in reporting. That sounds terrible, but it's actually a triumph. It's the fact that the CPS had a target. It's the fact that outreach was done, that charities worked incredibly hard, the Me Too movement, and women supporting other women in reporting rapes. So an increased reporting rape is actually a really good thing. It's not just about immigrants, it's about a lot of other things.
There absolutely is some truth to that because more people are reporting things, which implies that people feel more comfortable reporting things, which is a good thing, OK, then, you will see those things go up. But, Adam, you were having a look as well, I think, at some of the stats from Denmark, which
Denmark has got the most comprehensive migrant crime database or stats now. So non-European first-generation migrants are 279% more likely to commit murder, 464% more likely to commit rape, 220% more likely to commit assault. Now, these people are on our streets too. A lot of the people from Europe are now over here. We don't know where they are.
It's quite a complex data set. I mean, those statistics are incredibly arresting, Patrick, and without intruding too much into personal privacy, which the Danish do, I'd like us to have those sort of data sets. They really help policy. But you then need to cross-index things like you need to match that against poverty, for example. Generally speaking, it's just a fact of the matter. Those who generally tend to be poorer commit more violent crimes than those who tend to be richer. So you then need to cross-index race with poverty. Is it a racial phenomenon, or is it just that people of this particular demographic tend to be poorer? You've got to do all of those crosstabs. You might be looking for particular nationalities as well. Is this a bigger problem with people from country X than country Y? Or are we grouping all asylum seekers together? Or can we actually hone in on a particular territory that seems to be particularly problematic? And then you might want to have a separate policy.
For instance,
so go for it, but it's going to be one hell of a complicated spreadsheet.
Yeah, I mean, female asylum seekers, for instance, are not committing crimes like this.
Yep.
So perhaps we say yes to women and kids and not to men. We have the conversation.
I also think it's important that we should have more of the demographics of the victims as well, because if it is the case that the vast majority of the victims are white women or women who are native to that particular European country or Britain, I would also argue that that is, again, another reason why we should be having that influencing policy.
I don't think that who is being raped should matter. No, anybody who is assaulting anybody shouldn't live here or should be in prison.
I want to be very clear on that, but I also want to say that that would lend a strength to the argument that women who are already in this country would be put more at risk by people coming.
Yeah, absolutely, including asylum seekers, including women who are born here.
No. Once the data came out, it was unarguable that there was a problem, and you can't hide it.
But the left has to talk about it, and I fully acknowledge that the left has to be able to have the conversation. Otherwise, you are sacrificing women.
All right, guys, good start. Thank you very much. Difficult subject matter, but I do think it's important to address.